Hi.
Hi, Gabby. How are you?
Hi. Good, and you?
I'm good too. Welcome to Ukiyoto. We are so glad to have you here.
Oh, thank you
And
for inviting me.
a very good morning to you.
Thank you. Good morning to you too.
Thank you. So let's start with your new book, that is The Last Ones Standing.
Yeah.
And let's just start with knowing that how long have you been writing?
Oh, well, I have been writing since I was in secondary school, like when I was like 14 years old at the time. I used to write like small notes at the back of my notebooks or in post-its, like those colorful things. And I don't know, I just only write like ideas that came to my mind. And like I always had that passion of reading fantasy stories, so I decided to write my own.
Okay, so what was your writing inspiration? About the fantasy stories. So, what was the writing inspiration exactly?
I think that my biggest inspiration has to be J.R.R. Tolkien, like the author of The Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit. But
Oh my
also,
God, it's
like,
amazing.
yeah, I really love those stories.
Yes,
so,
we used to see this as a child, and it was so amazing. It was all fiction and everything.
yes, like it has a very fantastical and magical elements, and I really feel inspired by them. And like the message, like the most that had most impact in me about those stories is like found importance or beauty in simple things. So I decided to like also feel inspired by simple things or everyday things that happen to all of us. And like I also like I truly believe that you shouldn't like write about things that you haven't experienced or you don't really know about, to be like respectful for other cultures and other people. So like my inspiration has to be like things that I know or things that I experience as a Mexican woman. So yeah, I think that's my inspiration.
So you're just saying basically it's like getting inspired by Lord of the Rings and also having your own life experiences as well.
Yeah, like I merged them and then I created this book.
I think it is very evident in your book because it's very interesting to see the mortals and the mythological characters, being in a fight in a war. So, how did you come up with the title and the theme of the book? It's so beautiful. So, how did you come up with it?
Oh, thank you. First of all, thank you. Well, as you mentioned, like my book is about like a survival game between the mortal beings and mythical beings. So I decided to like focus the theme of hope against despair, which can also be seen like life against death.
Yes.
And as I mentioned, like I used to write like small notes, and most of them were about tragic events that happened to me, especially about death and loss. So I decided to pick up those notes and turn them into a book. The title comes from a song by Skylar Grey, and it's a song that I usually like listen repeatedly after I have like a rough time. So I decided to include it on the book.
I think you represent a lot of teenage girls over here. Which includes me, but I'm not a teenage. But at least you, you relate to a lot of girls out here. I mean, you like the most girls, which is like a song by Haley Steinfeld. So it's amazing. So,
Yes, thank you.
so yeah, what was your inspiration behind writing this book? There's a character named Hope, and she died 300 years ago. So, what is the inspiration behind writing this book?
Well, as you mentioned, like I really wanted to have like an impact on little girls or on teenagers. So I most of my inspiration for this book is my struggles or the problems that I have to endure in my teenager years. And also like how your friends during that stage of your life try to help you and overcome those problems. And like yeah, because I think that a lot of girls, especially nowadays, like experience very rough or difficult things during that stage of growing up. But like sometimes they can hit rock bottom, but then they decide to keep going, to keep moving forward. So like that's my
Just listen
inspiration
to
to
Taylor
show.
Swift's song.
Yeah, exactly. Like you have to transform those sad and anger,
Yes.
that sadness, that anger into something beautiful. Like you can turn those emotions, those bitter emotions, to help. You can turn them into something beautiful to help people that are going through similar situations overall, like a Taylor Swift song.
Yes, absolutely. I think it's amazing. And about the characters, what was the inspiration behind the characters? I also want to know importantly that what was the inspiration behind character of Hope? I mean, she's a girl. I think she represents a lot of girls like us, I suppose.
Yes. Well, my inspiration, it's like most of my characters are based on personality traits of myself.
Yes.
Because as I mentioned, like I don't like to write about things that I don't actually know about.
All
So,
right.
for
Yes,
example, my
absolutely.
my female characters like are based on some personality traits of mine, and I also like to intensify them, like to create a whole character. And they also like based on people that I have met, that I have lost, and overall like people that had a great impact on my life.
Okay, so basically you're saying that it is all about the people you meet or people around you or your own
Yeah.
self or actually. So what was the character building process like? I mean, how there are so many people that you have met, you have come across. Maybe they have some characteristics in the character building process. So what was the character building process like from the start? And do you think you were able to do justice to all the characters in the book?
Yeah, like answering first your second question, like yeah, I think that I did justice to them, especially because like me as a writer, like I think that I understand my characters, so I try to
Yes.
give them like a beginning, a middle, and an ending that will make sense to each one of the characters. And also like to respect the readers, because I don't want them, like I don't know, to like a character and that has an ending that like doesn't belong to that character specifically. uh so my character building process is like, first, like I see, again, I select important people that had impacted my life. And I don't know, like I first come up with the personality rather than the appearance or the name. The name is actually the last thing that I create for a character. And what I like to do is like put them in different scenarios, even if they don't have to do with the book. Like, I don't know, like I created this narcissistic character and I put them in the supermarket just to know like how will they react, or how will they uh like how they will talk to
You know,
people.
judging all around.
Yeah. So like that's what I like to do, like put them in random situations to get to know them better, and then like apply that knowledge of my characters into the story that I want to tell.
I think that's very interesting the way you described, yeah, keeping one character in a certain place and getting to know that character as well.
Yeah.
So, this book also talks about life after death. And do you think you portrayed the afterlife well enough? Because, every people have different myths about afterlives. So, do you think you
Yeah.
did justice to that?
That's exactly why like I didn't want to focus especially in the afterlife, or rather like in the struggle of life against death, but not in the afterlife, because like you mentioned, like a lot of people, and especially also my characters, like they come from different backgrounds. So I don't want it to put like only one idea of the afterlife. I wanted to leave it
Okay.
more open, like for the characters and for the readers, so they can decide what that afterlife is, if there is one. uh, but yeah, like it delves more specifically about life against death.
Okay. So, what was your favorite character, by the way? I would like to know in the book.
Oh, I think it has to be Hope. Like
I
that's
just
why
knew it.
I chose her like to be the guide of this journey, because I really enjoy. She's a very like naive but and innocent, but also like very pure. And like I like her that she represents like this purity um in this like rotten or corrupted world. So yeah, she has to be my favorite character, because she also like represents the things that I like more about myself, if even if that's like a very selfish thing to say. But
I
yeah.
think it's not, but I think without giving away too much about Hope or the book, can you just describe Hope as maybe a character, as a person, or how she would react if you put her in a different situation or something?
Yeah, okay. Well, like I mentioned, like Hope is a very sweet little girl who died years ago from a disease. And she's the one that guides our readers throughout the novel. And like her name says, like she focuses on bringing hope to other people. Like that's her main goal, to give hope to others, even in the darkest situations. She's very selfless and humble, to the point that it could actually be harmful to her, or put her at risk. Like even like if you're willing to sacrifice yourself for others, like it's also not a very good thing, because like you could end up losing your life or losing people or things that you care about. And yeah, like for example, if she were in a supermarket, she will immediately go to the candy aisle. I don't know, like she will grab a lot of chocolate things, and like things that kids usually pick. Also like the toy aisle, like she will grab a lot of dolls and all that stuff, because she didn't have like a childhood. Like it was taken away from her. So why she wants to bring this hope, or yeah, like she wants to let other people have what she didn't have.
Oh my God, that's really amazing about Hope. So, coming to that game that you were talking about a bit earlier. So,
Mhm.
this book talk about death. I mean, life after death, and it also talks about a deathly game. So, what made you, or why did you think of a deathly game to write about, and between mortals and mythical immortals? Why did you come up with a deathly game where she has to save, she has to kill herself for saving the others, the mortals? Why?
Yeah, I think that I came up with this idea because I think that we as humans like always focus on the what ifs. So I wanted to put my characters in a situation where they will be like, what if we could bring someone back to life? Or because I think that most of us at least has one person that we would want to see again, even if it's just for a brief moment. Um,
Yes.
so I wanted to see, I wanted to see like what my characters were willing to lose in to bring someone back. So I think that if you put them in this situation, when you have to choose between your life and bringing someone back, uh, like they have to be ready to make decisions and to sacrifice things in order to bring someone back. So that's why I chose this scenario of a survival game, of a deadly game for my characters.
I think you make it sound so easy about writing characters. It's like you build up a character and then you just throw it somewhere in a situation and let it work for yourself. It's the kind of thing that you are doing. I
Yeah,
think it's absolutely very. It looks very easy. It's very easy to say and very easy to hear, but I don't think it's really a very easy job for you. But you just make it
thank
sound
you,
very
thank you.
easy. So, what kind of message did you want to convey in the book? And also, did you think you did a good job with it?
Okay, so like the main message that I wanted to convey is hope. That's why I decided to name my
Name the
character like that.
character. Yes.
Yeah, because I think that even in our darkest times, we need to have hope. Like especially nowadays, I think that hope is something very important, something that we have to have. We need to believe that in the end everything will be okay. So yeah, I think that I did a good job, at least I like to think, uh, because like I wanted to show that death and loss and like pain overall are unavoidable, but like we cannot do anything to stop them from happening. But what we can do is like to face them with hope, like to face them with a good attitude, or like we get to decide those bad things affect us. So yeah, I think that I did a good job conveying this message, especially because my characters have up and downs, but like I wanted to focus more on the ups rather than in the bad things that happen to them. So in the end, like there's always hope for my characters.
Yes, so basically the book is very optimistic, and it also shows a great message about death. I mean, you always mourn about the death, but death isn't so bad. That's what I
Yeah,
think.
exactly.
Yeah, that's what I think the message is all about. So, what kind of responses have you got from your readers or people who reviewed this or your close ones who have read this book?
Yeah. Well, first they also like really like this concept of survival games because like nowadays it has become like a very popular concept in fiction in general. Like we have a series of books about these constant survival games or even TV shows.
Yes.
And they also like they have at least one character that resonates with them. So yeah, they also like my characters.
Okay, I think that's amazing because even I love your character building. And so, are you working
Thank
on
you.
anything else at the moment?
Yeah, I'm working on another book, also a fantasy book from a saga
Can you
because I
tell
really
us?
like
Can you tell us
fantasy.
about it? Yes, without giving away too much, of course.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's a fantasy world. There's like a lot of species, like we have dragons and gods and everything, and it's about like a group of people, of unique people. They have like different traits, and they go on different adventures with this species, like the dragons, like I said, and gods and all that stuff.
Oh my God, that's amazing. That sounds very interesting. So, okay, I think this is my almost my last question to you. So, what advice do you have
Okay.
for the other writers?
I think my biggest advice will have to be like to never give up because like this is a rough path. Like the life of a writer, it's not an easy one. But for that same reason, you have to be very strong and you have to be very stubborn. Like you have to believe not only in yourself but also in the story that you want to tell. So even if you get like, I don't know, thousands of rejection letters, you have to keep going. You don't have to give up because you have to remember that your story is worth publishing. You only have to find one person that sees the potential in your story. So like, don't get discouraged.
I think that's great. But I would also like to know that when you started writing, I mean, you started writing at 14 and you published a book also. And I just wanted to know that when did you think that it was okay to publish, or when did you think that, you know what, let it be, just let me publish what I have? So,
Yeah.
when was the first time you thought that you wanted to be an author?
Oh, I think that it was like around those years, like around 15 years old. Like, I don't know, I
Oh my
felt so
God.
captivated with the books that I read. And I was like, oh, I would like to have like a book of my own. Like, I would love to see someone like, I don't know, have one of my books in in the bookshelves.
So, who were you
And
inspired by, the author? I
yeah,
mean, any
but by
particular
Tolkien.
author?
Yeah, by
Okay.
Tolkien, like because I still have like his books like in my bookshelf, and I don't know, like for example, when I feel very sad or like I don't have motivation, I just grab one of the books and open it in a random page, and like I read something and I feel motivated again. So I thought that, I don't know, it will be like very fulfilling for me, like to like have impact in other people, like little girls like me. Like, I don't know, maybe someday like they feel sad and they just grab my book and open it and read it and feel happy again. So that's why like I decided to have, even if it's a small impact, but still an impact on people, and I decided to do it through writing stories.
Yes, I think that's great because when we girls are very upset, we usually listen to a Taylor Swift song and get over with it and
Yeah.
just cry about it. So instead,
Yeah.
we can also, you as a women can also relate to people like us, to people like all the girls. I mean, so that, you know, we can also read your book and, you know, just try to heal ourselves. That's an amazing
Yeah.
thing to even think about. So thank you so much, Gaby, for being here.
Oh, thank
And
you.
it was lovely conversating with you. And yeah, the book link will be down in the caption below, and you guys can purchase it from there. And also, I would really say that I really loved the fiction. It was very much adventurous, and I am very, very eager to read the book.
Thank you
And
so much.
thank you so much for being with us, and thank you so much for giving you our time. I mean, giving us your time. Thank you.
Thank you
We
for
will.
having me. Thank you.
It's our pleasure. Thank you so much. Have a good day today. So bye, Gaby. We'll see you
You
again.
too. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.